Alrighty, time to pull up these here quotes. Hello and welcome back to VEDS, the video project where I project a video... Hello and welcome back to VEDS, where I make a video every other day in September. Today I am going to be revisiting my everyday quotes topic. If you did not see that video, it is linked down in the description. But the basic gist was that I said a bunch of quotes and I asked y'all to guess where they were from. Today, I am going to provide the answers.
Come on in, boys. The water is fine.
Come on in, boys. The water is fine is from the Coen Brothers movie, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? It's where the characters come across a revival and one of the characters goes down and gets baptized, and his two buddies come up and is like, what are you doing? And he goes, come on in, boys. The water is fine. This is one where literally whenever I just have to say, come on, or I'm encouraging people to join in on something, it is so easy to slip on into a Tim Blake Nelson impression and go, come on in, boys, the water is fine. Second one, it's blisteringly hot. There is simply no reason it needs to be this hot. Comes from the Dungeons & Dragons movie, Dungeons & Dragons, Honor Amongst Thieves, from the character Fjord, played wonderfully by Hugh Grant. In the scene, he is sipping tea, and he keeps going on and on about how hot the tea is. It's a comedic beat that is questionable whether it actually works, but he says it so often that it does kind of get stuck in your head, or at least it does for me since I've seen the movie 6 times. Whenever it is, I'm either drinking a hot beverage or more often, it's just really hot outside. It's very easy to go, there's simply no reason it needs to be this hot. This tea is actually a little more hot than it needs to be.
I'm gonna drink some Baileys and unwind.
This comes from the television show Bob's Burgers, specifically the episode Weekend at Mort's, which is one of the best of the early seasons. It comes from my favorite character, Gene, and much like everything Gene says on the show, it is completely a non sequitur. Vaguely has something to do with what's going on, but really is a joke for Gene and Gene alone. And it just comes in at such a random point that I can't help but find it so funny and easy to quote.
All right!
Also from Bob's Burgers, all right, which is the catchphrase of Linda on the show. All right. It's not a good Linda impression, but it's very fun to say, especially with my fiance, as we watch Bob's Burgers together often. So whenever we are excited to do something, we'll just go, all right.
I don't think it means what you think it means.
I don't think that means what you think it means. Obviously comes from The Princess Bride. There are, of course, a million quotes from this movie that people quote all the time. This is the one that I think has the most utility in my life, and it would have felt wrong to leave it off of this list.
Potatoes. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
Similarly, I think very obvious, potatoes, you boil them, you mash them, you stick them in a stew, is from The Two Towers. I like potatoes a lot, and I use them in a lot of recipes, so it makes sense that I would say it often. But I think the thing that kind of burned this into my brain as an automatic response whenever potatoes comes up is that an old roommate of mine who was a big fan of Lord of the Rings would say it to me whenever I was cooking with potatoes, and I would say it to her whenever she was cooking with potatoes.
But I had tickets to the Super Bowl, Jesus!
We're jumping from the very obvious to the very obscure. I don't even know what these videos are called. They're these old videos where someone took like an old Jesus film or TV show and they overdubbed it. And there's this one part, and I assume that the original context is a demon-possessed person is coming in and Jesus is like rebuking out the demon. In this video, it is just a man running in and yelling to Jesus about football. When my family first discovered YouTube and online videos, these are videos that we watched a lot, and this one in particular has stayed in my brain. What about Bud? Can he come? Comes from, I believe it is the finale to the first season of Psych, but it might be in season 2. And it is the Scary Sherry episode. And the basic gist is that this group of sorority girls who are living in a haunted house that Sean and Gus have been hired to investigate believe that Gus is the actor who played Bud on The Cosby Show. And so at one point they call up Sean and invite him to something, and he says he can't go. And so they say, what about Bud? Can he come? And honestly, I don't think I say this one as much as my dad says it, But because my dad says it a lot, it is one of the quotes from Psych that sticks out to me a lot. Taco! Tacos! I talked about this one last year in VEDS, and this comes from Platoon of Power Squadron. There's a scene where one of the characters is a mascot for a taco restaurant, and this one guy comes out every day and harasses him by walking up to him and going, "Tacos!" It's from early Platoon of Power Squadron, so I can't necessarily recommend you go and watch it because it was back when the show had a lot of rough edges, but it is still very funny to me and very easy to quote whenever tacos come up, which is often.
Kiki, look, it's me!
Look, it's me is actually only part of a quote. I cheated a little bit here. If I'd put in the whole thing, then I think anyone who knows my taste in movies would get it. And specifically, it is the vocal performance of Phil Hartman that makes that and a couple other Gigi lines kind of stand out in the American dub.
I know you can, not a chance, no.
This is, of course, from one of the greatest High School Musical 2 songs. I believe I put it as my #1 High School Musical song when I ranked them a couple years back, but I can't remember for sure. This song is great, and whenever someone says no to something, and like, you know, that it is appropriate to quote High School Musical 2, I do. I know you can, not a chance. And of course, because this is one that is a song, you don't just quote it, you get to sing it. And it becomes a thing of, how much of this song can I sing before I fully annoy this person? So there are the answers to my everyday quote. Something about VEDS, which I will talk about when I do my wrap-up video, is that while it is definitely the right decision to have done, it is very limiting because I feel like I am very behind, and there are a ton of videos that I would love to make if I could. So we'll see what takes priority in the next couple videos. Till then, I will see you later.